We're hearing a lot about branded content slash native advertising slash sponsored content. Perhaps or perhaps not, these terms are interchangeable, but what do those mean to BuzzFeed?
Yeah, I actually think they're not interchangeable, and I think that's part of the confusion. People are conflating the idea of native advertising and content as the same thing, when in fact they're not. I think of native as the delivery mechanism and content as a type of advertising. So the most famous native advertising platform, I think, is Google in AdWords, where you will search and your advertising results are the same as the organic results. They are links to information. At BuzzFeed, people come to BuzzFeed for content, to find content to share, and that's what our advertising is. It is content that people engage with and ultimately share. So I do think that people are conflating these things, and in fact they are indeed separate.
And this is BuzzFeed's monetization mechanism, right? No banner ads, no display ads. How is that working out? So I know you record a lot of data and metrics about it, and some of that data you display quite proudly on the site for the popular stories. What does that data suggest about what is the right recipe for branded content?
Well, it is working. It's all we've done, as you've mentioned, and it's the only way that we monetize is content marketing that is delivered natively. And we do capture and understand lots of data, although I think my view is that data is useless. Insights are what are important, and that's what we draw out. So we begin to see on what platform is content sharing, when is it sharing, how is it being shared. The metric we care most about is something we call the social lift, or the social reproduction rate. How often is a piece of content reproduced across the social web? And we see differences on platforms. So we know when and what will perform well on Twitter as opposed to Pinterest, and they're quite different.
Okay, so BuzzFeed can give brands social lift, but does that correlate into any ROI for them? Are you helping them try to understand that?
Yeah, when we do studies and we look at certain brand affinities, purchase intent, what we see is that the shareable content, when you are my friend and I share with you a piece of branded content, you've come to that content from a trusted source, your friend. There's an implied endorsement. We see lift on those metrics go up sometimes hundreds of percent because I've endorsed it. There's this implicit endorsement that happens when you share a piece of content, especially a piece of branded content. So it is moving the needle for brands.
And what specifically is working for BuzzFeed in terms of what would you hold up there as a campaign that has worked really well? So in real-time marketing, we know that Oreo has become like an emblematic example. What's your Oreo?
I don't think we think about them as one program that's done exceptionally well. We actually like to look at it across the board. Folks that are doing content that is always on, they're always producing content. Virgin Mobile is one of our biggest advertisers, producing up to 300 pieces of content a year. We're seeing that they're getting an additional lift because of all the content they're creating. We've done great programs really across category, even for GE, which I think of. I've never bought an aircraft engine online myself, but producing content for the likes of GE has an effect on their overall marketing mix in their campaign. So I like to think of it as not one specific hit, but across the board lifting brands.
And so BuzzFeed is producing video now, and you opened a production house in LA a while ago. Give us an update on that. Put some numbers on how video is working out.
Yeah, so that's actually my new job is the business of our video. We've been doing it for 13, 14 months. We have done roughly on the editorial side about 1,300 videos. 20% of them have over 1 million views. We have about 4 million subscribers across our YouTube channel. About 100 million plus monthly views each month. So we're doing really well from an editorial perspective. And we're now working with brands, which is really exciting, to create shareable video content with brands. And it's going actually very well with some big brands.
How do the brands look on it? I mean, so is that more expensive for them to produce video than it is to produce a textual branded article?
Not necessarily. We work with them we've been doing this now for 13 months from an editorial perspective, and all the data and insights and learnings that we've had, we are now applying to branded video. So they're looking at this as a way to create a piece of an asset, a video asset, that people will want to share. And we're seeing great success. We've just done a program with Loves, the diapers, and it's been very successful because it's, the way we think about video is hitting certain targets. So, having some emotional connection, having a piece of identity, and, really informational. And that's one example that's been able to hit on all of that, right? If you're a new parent, a young parent, we're giving you tips and tricks and hacks, and it's sharing extraordinarily well. And it's very much in line with how we think on BuzzFeed.com, which is to create shareable content. We're now doing it with videos.
It seems like advertising and marketing are kind of bifurcating along two different parts of the spectrum. So on the one hand, you have branded content, kind of soft qualitative marketing that the likes of BuzzFeed are executing on. And then at the other end of the spectrum, you have this move toward very scientifically data-driven programmatic advertising, machine-based bidding. Can those combine in any way? Like, can the rise of the maths men as opposed to the mad men help out on native advertising? Can they help achieve native advertising achieve scale?
Yeah, certainly. Although I think scale is a bit of a misnomer. We have north of 140 million monthly uniques on our site, so we certainly have scale. But I think of engagement as far more important, and sharing as far more important than just simply getting eyeballs to a piece of content. But as you've talked about, this is the barbell, right? So you've got on one hand the programmatic, on one hand the content and social. I think about ways that you need that bar in the middle for that barbell, and I think there's no question the way that we analyze data and the way we draw insights out from that are helping the content be even better. So I don't see them as separate necessarily. I see them as really powerful when you do the two together.
And lastly, so BuzzFeed launched a UK edition not so long ago. How's it going? And any further internationalization plans?
Yeah, it's going incredibly well. We've actually just hired our first political editor here in the UK and hiring that team. Commercially, it's going very well. I think we've taken a lot of learnings from what's worked in the States, but really have a great team here that understands the local market in the UK, and those two things together are really powerful. As far as additional international expansion, we are always looking and analyzing to see patterns of traffic and behavior, and the idea is always to grow traffic and then figure out the commercial bit later. So there will be more to come.